Hey everyone, it's Leanne from the Medicine Hat Public Library again. I'm here today with another painting video. Today we'll be talking about something that painters can struggle with quite a bit, mixing blacks, grays, and neutral tones. I see a lot of beginners using black paint straight out of the tube when they mix colors. True black, no matter what medium, acrylic, oil, or watercolor, is a very strong color. It doesn't harmonize very well with everything else in your palette. Adding it to a color to make it darker can make it appear dull, purple, and flat. In the short term, black can make it easier to mix colors when you don't fully understand the color wheel and color theory. You just throw it into blue to make it darker, rather than adding in some darker blues and browns. But if you only use this, you're holding yourself back as an artist, especially if you want to paint more realistic things. Some artists actually never use black straight from the tube for this reason. I'm one of those people who never uses black. Once I got into mixing my own colors, black from the tube just never looked right to me. What works for me may not work well for other people. Here's some reasons why you want to mix your own blacks using complementary colors that are opposite on the color wheel. Mixing your own neutral tones from the colors that are in the painting using color theory makes things blend and harmonize better. You can get different shades and tones of black for different effects. When you mix your own blacks, you're learning more about the colors you use and how they go together. This improves your painting so much. If you've studied color theory, the books will tell you that if you mix red, yellow, and blue, the three primaries together, you'll get black. I've actually found that this usually never happens in real life. When I've tried, I get this gross brown color. Mixing a blue and a brown together is actually the easiest way to get a color that's the closest to black out of the tube. If you look at the color wheel, blue and orange are opposites. This means that if you mix them together, they cancel each other out. Brown is a dull shade of orange, so if you mix them together, they cancel each other out and make black. My personal favorite combination is ultramarine blue and burnt umber. These are both dark pigments, and when they're combined, they make this beautiful black shade that's as dark as a black out of a tube. You can make the shade more cool by adding more blue, or more warm by adding more brown. This flexibility is great for realistic paintings. I'll often start with a black base, and then add some white, an earth tone like burnt sienna to warm it up a bit. Another great black can be mixed by using cobalt blue and burnt sienna. Burnt sienna is the warmer cousin of burnt umber, so if you need a warmer gray, it's great. Same with cobalt blue. Since it's more vivid, it makes a slightly different gray shade. If I'm losing you with this, don't worry. Once you practice and get to know how mixing grays work, this will come naturally. You can mix other colors together to get a very dark shade. Green and red are on opposite sides of the color wheel, so if you put them together, they make a very dark green-gray. Yellow and purple are also on opposite sides of the color wheel, so mixing them together will give you a cool neutral tone as well. What I'm doing here is mixing a variety of blacks and grays using the colors in my palette. Can you see the differences in hue and intensity with each of these combinations? You'll notice that the blacks lose a lot of chromatic intensity and wash out as you add white to it. Since white is an absence of pigment, this makes sense. A lot of artists can feel frustrated as they mix colors because their painting will look either dull or washed out. A lot of the time, this comes from really relying on only white and black to change the values instead of using the color wheel. How do you stop this from happening? The answer is adding colors to your neutral tones as you lighten and darken them to make warmer, cool grays. As you add white to black, it starts to look pale and blue. Yellow is a very warm, intense color, so adding yellow or an earth tone like yellow ochre will keep it from looking as washed out and cool. If your dark tone in a landscape is looking dull, try adding a bit of dark green or burnt sienna to keep it looking rich. If you're painting with oils or acrylics, you can layer paints. If you're patient, you can really build light and dark tones without losing a lot of intensity. This is easier with acrylics because they dry a lot quicker than oils. I'm showing you how I paint with gray and neutral tones in this demo. I'm painting a white sphere and I'm building up the warm and cool neutral tones from the colors in my palette. On a side note, if you're painting from a reference image, most printers will add a color cast to the image that you need to keep in mind. With this image, it looks like much more of a warm brown than the actual picture is. That's why my painting looks a little bit different than what you might see on the other side of my easel. If I'm painting something realistic, I'll usually also have the image on my phone and look at it sometimes to make sure I'm getting the right shade of gray. Some of the things I showed you today helpful. Color mixing can be very hard to teach. It's really something that you should watch a few videos on and then just try and practice yourself. Like learning an instrument, you need to do the physical practice to see what actually happens when you put different colors together. It may take a bit, but if you try making your own neutral tones, you'll find that painting gets so much easier. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me through the library's social media. We're always posting new and exciting things on Facebook, Instagram, and on our YouTube channel. Have a great day!